Hey there guys, welcome to today's live stream. As always, our daily or weekly Wednesday live stream. So before I get started for today's stream, there's a few things I do want to address as pertaining to my business. So I do want to mention again that I am doing live streams on Instagram. I've started to do them on Tuesday at the same time as I do these streams at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I'm going to be discussing separate topics. So basically on the Instagram live streams, I primarily have been focusing on goals and sort of adhering to your workout routine. That's sort of been where I've started on those live streams. And again, they're going to be separate topics. I don't want to keep everything all the same. I want to, have different things to discuss on different platforms and resonate with different people depending on those platforms. So that's one thing that I want to mention. I do those on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, same time as I do these that I'm doing on Wednesday. So I did have one yesterday. You can go back and check that video out. All of those videos that are live streams that I've done in the past for Instagram, they will stay on my Instagram. So you can scroll through my Instagram and look at those. If you want to have the link to my Instagram, just let me know or send me a message for that, and I'll send you that link. And all you have to do is just scroll through my feed that I have on Instagram, and you can find that live stream. So again, yesterday's live stream, I talked about exercise adherence. There's a lot of good information there that you can take away with you. So definitely check that out. I can share the link if you need that link through messages, or of course I can post it in the group. And for this next live stream I'm doing in Instagram, I've already got it scheduled for next week. I'm going to be talking about the psychological benefits of exercise. So it's going to be somewhat of an expansion of what I've been talking about on Instagram at the moment. So check that out next week on Tuesday. And of course, this next Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about the nervous system here on Facebook. So it's going to be a little bit of an expansion of what I'm talking about today. So I did want to mention that I'm doing 2 live streams weekly now on separate platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Maybe in the future I'll do TikTok. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'm trying to find different ways to where I can resonate with you guys in a certain way, my audience, and just give you all great information and value and show you what I have to offer as a personal trainer and, of course, as an online fitness coach. So with all that being said, I'm not sure what that was. With all that being said, I'll go ahead and get into today's live stream. So what we're going to talk about today is, again, somewhat of an expansion of last week's. I'm going to be talking about understanding your joints. So this is a topic that can go into many different directions, and it can go into really detailed territory. But again, like I mentioned, as always, I'm going to try to condense each of these topics that I talk about every week into a simplified form to where you can understand them. Because there's a lot of different terms that I'm going to come up with or mention today with this live stream. So again, I'm going to try to explain everything as much as I can in detail. So what exactly are joints and how do we define them? So with the joints, basically what a joint is joints are formed when bone articulates with another bone. So joints can be categorized by their shape, structure, and function. Arthrokinematics is something that I'm going to talk about today. It is basically the description of the joint surface movements consisting of the movements of rolling, sliding, or spinning. So in simplified terms, arthrokinematics is basically how the joint is moving in that bone, to sort of understand it. But again, let me sort of rehash what I just said. So joints are formed when bones articulate with another bone. This is just the connection between bones. And there's other things I'm going to discuss as it relates to joints, the different, when you go to tendons and ligaments and things of that nature. But again, they have different categorizations depending on their shape, structure, and function. Each joint has a different function in the human body. But again, in simplest forms, it's where a bone articulates with another bone. Arthrokinematics is, of course, the movement of the joint, what specific movement that joint is doing. Okay, so the classification of joints. When it comes to classifying joints, there's many different things that we can discuss. So basically, the first thing we're going to talk about is synovial joints. These are the most common joints associated with human movement, and the most common joints you're going to see in the body. So a synovial joint is actually a joint with a fluid-filled joint capsule. So they comprise approximately 80% of all the joints in the body and have the greatest impact for motion. So again, we're going through these. You've got your synovial joints, but then you've also got a separate category, which this is basically a subdivision of all the joints. But all of these joints I'm talking about are basically in the same category as a synovial joint. And the synovial joint is just one classification, a broad classification of the most common joints in the human body. So the joints that we have are gliding joints, condyloid joints, hinge joints, saddle joints, pivot joints, and ball and socket joints. These are all different joints in the body. So to put this into a more simple description on what these joints are. So with a gliding joint, an example of that would be in your hand. That would be your carpal muscles in your hand. It is an example of a gliding joint. A condyloid joint would be in your fingers. That would be, the movement in your fingers. A hinge joint would be like on your leg when you're bending. That's a hinge joint. You've got the saddle joint, which is also can be found in the finger, like right at the end of your finger. You've got the pivot joint, which again can be related to your arms and your legs, where your legs hinge, of course, like your knees and then your elbows. That would be a part of the hinge joint. Ball and socket is your arms, the movement of your arms, because a ball and socket can move in any direction. It's not restricted to one direction like these other joints. A lot of the other joints that I just mentioned have either two-way directions, one-way direction, but with the ball and socket, of course, your arm can move in multiple directions. It's not constricted as to what it can do. Like with you've got your hand, your wrist, it can't, there's only certain directions it can move. But then with the ball and socket joint with your arm, it can move in multiple directions. So I know that's a lot to sort of discuss, but these are important things to sort of know what your joints are, because it's, I'm going to explain more as to where this relates to physical activity and exercise. So when I'm talking about all this is all going to connect to the basics of exercise and things of that nature. So I'm going to explain more on detail with that. And of course, having healthy joints is important. It's important with, it can definitely, exercise can help benefit that. So I'm going to explain more in detail on that. But I just want to go through the classifications, what these specific joints are, and just to be aware of what they do. There's different motions that each joint does. So I just mentioned synovial joints, which is the most common. Non-synovial joints are joints that do not have a joint capsule. They're fibrous connective tissue or cartilage in the uniting structure. So joints have little to no movement. An example of this joint would be the sutures of the skull. Basically, non-synovial joints are, they're not the most common joints in the body, of course. but they are joints that cannot really move. They can't move, or they can do little movement. So your skull, of course, you can't. That part of the skull just can't move. So that's basically what a non-synovial joint is. Of course, that's not something that's really major to know, but it sort of expands on what I'm discussing with joints in general. Okay, so I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on what is exactly in the joints, or what is the connective tissues of the joints and things of that nature. So collagen. You've likely heard of collagen. Collagen is a very popular topic that's talked about pretty often nowadays. But basically what collagen is, it's a form of protein that is found in the human body and is the most common form of protein in the human body. So what collagen does is it's found in these connective tissues of the muscles, and it provides strength structure to the body. So collagen is found, there's varying amounts of collagen that's found in the body, but this all relates again to your joints. Collagen is that form of protein that can be found in your joints, and there's multiple other things I'm going to talk about too. So there's two other sort of connective tissues. You go into collagen, and then you have these other two tissues that you can find, which is protein as well. So elastin is also a protein that can be found. Basically what elastin does is it's a protein that's more focused on providing elasticity to the skin. Elastin gives some elasticity and elastic recoil to withstand any bending and twisting it will likely endure in various movements. So elastin is helping you to be able to do certain actions. And again, you're doing a lot of bending in the joints, so elastin is going to help with that. It's a protein just like collagen. So let me go to the last connective tissue. Again, these are all protein. You've got proteins and connective tissues that all work together in your joints. So ligaments, of course, I don't have it here, but I want to go ahead and discuss it at the moment. So ligaments is another thing that can be found. So it's a fibrous connective tissue that connects bone to bone. So ligaments provide static and dynamic stability, as well as sensory input to the nervous system that aids in proprioception. So proprioception is basically being aware of the position of your body. It's like, say, if you close your eyes, with proprioception, you are kind of aware. So when you close your eyes, you kind of lose your balance because you're not seeing things around you and you're not having that sort of awareness of the environment around you. So that challenges your proprioception. Basically, again, what proprioception is being aware of your surroundings, being aware of where you're at the moment with your body. So that's what it does, is it helps aid, your ligaments help aid in that proprioception. So I did want to mention that about ligaments. Of course, I don't have it on this presentation, but it's another thing to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and go into the main thing, of course, that I want to talk about, and that's exercise impact on bone mass. And again, joints and bones are very much in the same category. So regular weight bearing and muscle strengthening exercises can help in improving agility and posture. So in older adults, focusing on these types of exercises can help reduce the risk of falling. So again, a lot of exercise basically is all, preventative health. So when you start today, if you're starting early with, weight training and muscle strengthening exercise, you're started at a younger age, of course, it's going to be down the road, the impact on your body is not going to be so severe as if you are not exercising or you're not in regular activity, regular physical activity, I guess I should say. So definitely it's important because it's going to help when you're doing weight bearing exercises and muscle strengthening exercises. It's going to improve that agility and posture. And I can testify to that because as I've started, sort of learning with personal training and sort of gaining more knowledge about certain exercises that I didn't know before, you know, as a personal trainer, as being certified, I've discovered a lot of different exercises. And before, when I just didn't have that knowledge, I was just doing random exercises. But now that I'm aware of the purpose of each of these exercises, I can say that one of the things that I think is the most important when it comes to posture and agility is doing stability-based exercises. I actually do a lot of stability exercises that I used to not do. I'm sure you've probably seen some of my videos, but I use the Bosu ball pretty often, actually. That's all about stability, all about balance. I use stability ball here and there. I do a lot of single leg exercises, like I'll do some squats, like dumbbell deadlifts, single leg deadlifts, which is, again, challenging that stability. When you do it enough, because when I started doing these stability exercises, they're hard. They're not easy to do. But what I've noticed with doing more of these is you gain more balance. Your posture improves, your agility improves, and you're going to notice that over time. I've noticed that with myself when, before I didn't do any stability based stuff. I just didn't understand. But it's important. It helps with strengthening your muscles in a different way because it's helping you to be aware of your posture, your agility, and just your balance. So if you start now, it's really going to help in the long run of, your health down the road. Again, exercise is just a preventative health measure, basically. It's just a preventative measure for down the road to when you get older, in older age, to where your body is not, at that peak level anymore. It's going to help benefit you now when you start, earlier. But again, even if you're starting at a later time, you're still going to reap those benefits if you stick with it. You're still going to have that improvement either way. But starting earlier is the best way to start. Okay, so the skeletal system and joints. So throughout the life of the skeletal system, it's going to go through various changes through age. Growth plates are found in bones and are located in the epiphysis that is primarily focused on longitudinal bone growth. So again, going back to, going back to joints in the skeletal system are all interconnected. It's all the same sort of system, I guess you would say. So again, bones will grow as we age. They usually reach their peak bone mass at around age 30 for both sexes, male and female. And skeletal bones actually stay stable between ages 30 and 50, and then the years after that, they do decline. So they'll become a little bit more prone to, I guess you would say, more brittle, more prone to, fracture and things of that nature. However, like I've mentioned before, if you're doing preventative measures now and you're exercising now at your age, depending on if you're younger, it's going to help you in the long road. Of course, even if you are an older person, you can still get those benefits. It's just going to be a little bit harder for you to sort of do those exercises to get to that point. That's the only difference. So, and when it comes to bone mass too, and sort of your bones deteriorating, it can all depend on many different factors, not just on age, but it could be hormonal, lifestyle, your diet, the environment, any genetic influences you have from your parents. There's so many different things that can relate to sort of the health of your bones. So I did want to mention that, but again, exercise is going to have a huge impact when it comes to your bones. It's going to help benefit in the long run. And again, when I talk about all of this stuff, when it comes to, the skeletal system or muscles or this and that, it's not just about, getting big. It's not just about, looking the best. There's so much more to exercise than just looking good. There's a lot of underlying benefits that you need to be aware of. And it's important to know that you're not only going to get that benefit of feeling good and feeling confidence, but you're also going to help with your health. You're going to help with your health in the long run. And at the same time, you're going to get those psychological benefits, but you're also going to get those, internal benefits with your health in the long run. So again, fitness is it's not all about looking good and, just trying to, be buff or any of this. It's more to that. There's more to it. There's, more to being aware of your health when it comes to fitness. So that's something that I want to mention today. I hope that you guys found some good information from this. I want to continue on with this course, kind of talking about the different systems in the body and how they connect to fitness, because I want to relay it back to fitness because, of course, I'm a personal trainer, and you guys are more interested in knowing the relation to fitness and how, it can help the different systems of the body. So with all these, I'm going to make a connection to fitness and how it's going to help benefit that. So next week, I'm going to talk about the nervous system. And it's going to be I'm going to go into detail somewhat like I did today. But again, I'm going to interconnect it with how it can benefit you, it can help your nervous system when you exercise. Just like I talked about today, how exercise is going to help your joints, going to help your bones, your bone mass. So that's something that I want you guys to keep in mind. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Like always, you can email me or send me a text message. Just let me know that it's you, and I'll reply to you. I try to get back to everybody as much as I can. Sometimes it's difficult at times, but I do try to get back to you guys as much as I can if you have a comment or anything. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, I am going to be doing Instagram live streams at 12 on Tuesdays, Central Standard Time. And of course, the Facebook live streams will not change. I will be doing these every Wednesday at 12 Central Standard Time. So I just want to mention to you guys 2 live streams a week that I'm doing now. Definitely check both of them out. They're 2 separate topics every week. So that'll be sort of the daily or the weekly schedule that I'm going to be doing from here on out. If anything changes, if I decide to do TikTok live streams, I'll let you guys know. But again, I'm going to keep these platforms, different topics on each platform. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. If you have any feedback, let me know as well. But I hope you found some value from this. I hope that it helped you understand a little bit more, helped you gain a little bit more knowledge on bones and joints. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next live stream.